Hello there, my lovelies, and welcome to another crafty video. So today I'm going to be decorating this beautiful unicorn head that I purchased from Hobbycraft many months back. So the only thing I've done to this piece is I've given it a whitewash, and as you can see it has some hair at the front which I moulded myself from some clay. So I haven't done much to it, but today I'm going to be using this colour palette of silvers and greys to create a stone-like effect. So in with my paints I have been using this Pebeo Prismine Fantasy effect, which is slightly metallic, and to give the texture I want I have the Pebeo Texture Sand in black. So along with my paints I also have mixed in some Mod Podge, which is my sealant. So I have it in silver shimmer and matte as well, and this will make it waterproof for hanging outside. I also have my trusty old sponge, which I've picked bits out of to create my stippled texture effect, and a few brushes here and there for getting into the fiddly little areas to paint. So I'm just going to mix all the materials in together. So that's my Mod Podge, my paint, my Pebeo Prismine, and my texture sand. So the reason I'm using texture sand is because I want the overall effect to be stone-like, or I guess you could say, so it looks natural. I want this to look like a natural structure that you might find in your garden. So just mix those all together. Okay, so that's my Mod Podge, my paint together, and to give it a bit of depth I want to add a little bit of black. So this is the Graduate Acrylic in Noir, and this will give me my dark to balance out the light when I start to paint. So hopefully these two mixed together should give me my stone effect. So I've just loaded up my sponge and I'm just going to lightly press into my unicorn head, making sure to hold it stable. So if you'd like to try this at home, this is super easy to do if you're looking to create something natural, whether it be for your home or your garden. All you need is a sponge that you don't mind getting a little bit dirty with paint, and two corresponding tones. So you'll want a colour with a lighter shade and a darker shade, and just simply sponge it over the area of your object. So I want to make sure I'm being very careful here because he is made out of paper mache and clay, so two components that can get damaged easily. And as I said at the start of the video, the reason I'm using Mod Podge in with my paint is so that it will give it a waterproof coating over the top. Okay, so you can see the texture that's sort of building up with our light and dark. Now for this, as I said, I did paint the head of the unicorn with a whitewash. If you are going for a bronze, copper or gold tone for your make, I would suggest leaving it as it comes, because most paper mache from the Deco Art range does come in a brown sort of goldy colour which again is useful if you're making something in that sort of colour, but because I'm using silver, greys and blacks, I wanted to give it a neutral base, so hence the white. Okay, so I'm just using my sponge to squeeze into the nooks and crannies, and for any bits that I miss out, I'm going to be using a paintbrush for. Okay, so first coat on, and before I do the back of the unicorn, I'm going to dry the front so it's easier to handle, and also so I can adhere the sand texture to the paint so that it doesn't fall off, because after all, I don't want to put all that hard work in and it fall off. So I'm just using my Paper Mania heat tool. Okay, and I've taken out the audio for this as it's pretty loud, so I didn't want to startle you guys. So I'm just giving it a quick dry over, just enough so it's touch dry. For this, I did have to put 2 layers of paint on just to make sure I covered all the white. So he's looking pretty snazzy already, but I will be adding another layer over the top. But you can see where the sand is on the sides and the top. Okay, so now comes the fiddly part. We want to get my brush, and I'm using a stiff brush just to stipple in the areas that I couldn't reach with my sponge. So I'm just going to stipple in here. Push, 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 push. So the reason I'm using a stippling brush and not using a regular paintbrush to paint it onto is because I don't want streaks or paintbrush marks. I want to make sure I keep the texture going and the pattern throughout the head. So instead of brushing the paint on like I usually would, I'm using a stipple effect, making sure I pick up again some of the texture paste with me and filling in all the awkward sections such as behind the horn, in between the hair and the ears. So this was the longest part of the process. I had to constantly turn the head to make sure that you couldn't see any white from any angle, and then going over it as and where needed. And then once I had that bit done, I did dry it again very quickly with my heat tool before any varnishing or extra layers. Okay, so here is the picture of it before I did the second layer. So you can see it's still a little bit patchy, but in the next few images you'll be able to see the finished product overall. But I really enjoyed this one. It was super easy to do, but very effective, I think. But let me know what you guys think. So this is actually the finished unicorn head on the front of my house. And you might be able to tell that I did some metallic dry brushing with my Mod Podge silver, and to finish off I gave it an extra coat of the matte Mod Podge to make sure it was going to be super waterproof and ready to hang outside. So I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I may do more of these in the future. Let me know what you guys think. Should I do a gold or maybe a rainbow coloured one? Yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and as always I will see you in my next crafty video. Bye guys!